Baba Inderjit Singh had a video where he was sitting and he was talking about the pleasure that you get from food. He was saying, what happens when you eat an orange? Where do you get the pleasure or the taste? Where does it come from? Does it come from the orange, or does it come from the tongue, or does it come from somewhere else? And what he explains is that it comes from the inside, which is from the Anandmaikosh and the Bhuddi touching it. So what does that mean? If you've read the Aatma, you would understand that. So I think simplifying that would be beneficial for all, so they can understand Baba Inderjit Singh better. Because the thing with Baba Inderjit Singh is his level is over here.
Oh yeah.
And to understand him, you have to be somewhere over here.
Absolutely.
So, not that I'm saying I'm any level here, but it's I had the opportunity to learn from Gyaan Indris Singh Ji, and also sit with Babaji as well. So, anyways, in order for you to understand what he was saying, you have to understand the five kosh, the five bodies. And the kosh means sheath, like the sheath of a sword. So they're koshes. So think of it like Russian dolls, where you have one doll inside the other.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah. So the outermost sheath is called the Anumaikosh. The Anumaikosh is the body that runs on food. An means food. Right? And basically, they're just the doors to the outside world. Right? And I don't want you to think about modern science. This is Vedic science. This is what Guru Granth Sahib Ji also mentions this. By Gurdas Ji Zawad has also mentioned this, and so does Vedanta. Right? So try not to think in terms of modern science or biology. Right? Okay. It's a little different.
Yeah.
So the Anandmaikosh is the outer body. Within the Anandmaikosh is the Pranamaikosh. The prans, people probably have heard of prans, like pranic yoga and stuff.
Yes.
Pranas being the wind or the vital force. There's 5 types of prans now. So you have the prana, which is basically the vital force or the breath of the body. You have udan, which is the speech, and when you're talking, the wind that comes out of the talking.
Yeah.
So it's a wind that goes upwards in your body.
Okay.
Then you have saman, which rests in your belly button, and it takes the force from the food, and it takes it to the rest of the body. It's like what they describe it as is like a bucket going inside a well, and then taking the water out and pulling it out. So that's how the saman works. Then you have Gyaan, which basically carries the nutrients to the nadis, the nerves, I guess, the capillaries to your bodies, to the skin. And then the 5th one is called the Upan.
Okay.
Upan is the force or the wind that pushes elimination down. So basically the bodily waste, the excretion of feces and urine. So that's what the 5 prans are. Now within the Pranamaikosh is also the mind.
Okay.
Sorry, not the mind. It's the 5 prans and the 5 Karam Indriyas.
Okay.
So the Karam Indriyas being the 5 Karam senses, which are they? You have number 1 hands, then you have number 2 feet, number 3 your voice box, so your talking ability, and then 2 is basically urethra, which eliminates urine, and the anus, which eliminates feces. So these are the 5. Now the pranas are connected directly to these 5 karam indriyas, right? They, if you notice, like it's your breathing, and the oxygen goes to your hands and feet and your speech elimination of waste. Without the energy, it doesn't work like that. So within the Pranamaikosh, you have the Manumaikosh, which is where the mind exists, along with the 5 Gyaan Indriya. Okay. Now, this is the Gyaan Indriya being the sight, eyes, hearing, ears, smell, nose, taste, tongue, and skin, touch. Right? So this is where you receive Gyaan or knowledge of the world that you live in. And your senses, right? And that's why it's called the Gyaan Indriya. Yeah. And your mind makes an effort on what to do with them. That's the Manumaikosh. Okay. Within the Manumaikosh, right? So we have Anandmaikosh, Pranamaikosh, and Manumaikosh. Now the fourth one is called the Vigyaanmaikosh. This is where the Bhuddi, the wisdom, lives. The Bhuddi, the Vigyaanmaikosh consists of the Bhuddi, and again the Gyaan Indriya, because it needs to make a judgment on the senses. Now, within the Vigyaanmaikosh is called the Anandmaikosh. This is where bliss exists. And the reason why bliss exists here is because it's where the Aatma is the closest to it. So that's the Aatma is there, and then outside of it is the Anandmaikosh and the Vigyaanmaikosh, Manumaikosh, Pranamaikosh, and the outside is the Anumaikosh. So the Anandmaikosh being the closest to the Aatma, it feels the Aatma the most. And what's the prime feeling that it gets is Anand, bliss, peace, right? So when you feel pleasure is when your Bhuddi turns towards the Anandmaikosh, and it basically touches it. This is what happens when you go into deep sleep, because the Bhuddi goes to sleep.
Yes, yes.
Right? You don't remember where you are.
You're at your most Anand.
You're at your most Anand at that point. And this is the reason you feel the most pleasure. I mean, at that point when you're really sleepy, I can put the best food, your favorite food in front of you. You used to be like, I don't want to eat this. I just want to go to sleep.
Absolutely.
There's a reason why, right? It's because it's you feel the most Anand, you feel the most pleasure there. But this is also where you feel pleasure when you eat food or you experience some good sounds, music. The Bhuddi is focused at that point and turned towards the Anandmaikosh, right?
That's right, because sometimes that one food tastes good at one time, and another time that same food doesn't taste so good.
Interestingly, you bring that up, is what they say is the best time you taste the good food, like taste the best, is the first time you ever had it. Is because you're focused on, I wonder what this tastes like.
That's right.
So that's where you're most focused, and the key thing is the more focused you are with your Bhuddi, the more pleasure you will receive.
You look for it again.
Right. I mean, and then you can think about it. Oh yeah, you know that food that I had was so good, or that music that we heard was so good. You're again getting a little focused and think about it, and then you can feel a little bit of that pleasure again, the Anand.
Right.
But the important thing to understand, what Baba Indris Singh's main point is that this is the tamoguni pleasure, which is basically where the Bhuddi turns inwards. You want satoguni pleasure, which is where the nirvikalp samadhi comes in. This is where you're actually fully aware. And that can only happen with Simran and Seva. So the Seva will wash the karma away. The Bhuddi will become more pure.
Yes.
Right?
Clean your mind.
Right. The Bhuddi.
Yeah.
When the Bhuddi is pure is when it experiences more pleasure. Right? And then this is where they talk about where joy and sorrow becomes to say you don't really care what happens in the world anymore, because your Bhuddi is clear and light and doesn't carry any baggage. It's always connected to the Anandmaikosh. So it doesn't matter if you have $5 million or if you lose $5 million, you're going to be in the same state of mind.
That's right.
This is the emphasis that Guru Sahib kind of tells you to stay in the santok, the contentment.
Yeah.
And this
living in Zen.
Yeah, living in Zen, as you may call it.
Yeah.
Get rid of the jealousy. Get rid of the hatred.
Yes.
Get rid of the unnecessary thoughts of acquiring objects.
Yes.
These are the things that make your mind or Bhuddi dirty. Right? And this allows you actually not to experience pleasure. Sometimes you see a really rich person.
Yeah.
You think he may be happy, but or she, they're not, because they're running around. They're not focused.
Yes.
Right? They can't experience all the assets.
That's right. And all the Bhagats have been the most poor.
Yeah, and the most happiest.
And the most happiest.
Right?
And content. Yes.
Yeah. So this is what Baba Indris Singh was talking about when he was saying the pleasure comes from within. Another just last example I want to give is, if you put $10 million in front of a rock, would it be happy?
Would care less.
Care less. Doesn't even know, because it doesn't have the Bhuddi. But if you put $10 million in front of you, we know where that will go.
Yes.
Right?
I go shopping.
Yeah. Well, not the best thing to do, but yeah.